The rumors. That's right. That is why you're all here anyway, is because we have rumors to discuss. So let's discuss them. Okay, nerds, we are back for another off-season episode. Got a lot done for the things and the stuff walking into this week. We are still looking at the first week of February being the regular episodes returning. So that being said, we do have another piece of housekeeping to get out of the way real quick. So I tried a new thing and that new thing was streaming to YouTube, something that I have kind of done with mixed results in the past because I did it kind of by the seat of my pants. On this past Friday, I thought I had all of the planning that was needed done and set and ready to go. And then apparently in my broadcast software in OBS, I did not include an audio source for the main scene for the first half of the live episode. And so, yeah, thank you very much for those 3 watchers that tried to stick it out with me. But yeah, I had no visibility on chat. I had no visibility on any of the readouts that I should have. And it was just lessons learned, I guess, is probably the appropriate way to put that. There were some hiccups and that will not be repeated. I have already made sure that such things will not happen again in the future. That being said, please join us again. We will, I don't have any sort of set time for this yet. We are still beta testing some of these ideas. So that being said, we will be trying another live stream this Friday. Similar structure to this live stream as the last one, just this time you'll be able to hear what I'm saying. So, and hopefully be able to join in the conversation. Yeah, so keep posted to the social medias and all the things. Make sure you're following me on the social medias in order to know when we will be going live this Friday. That being said, that's a great transition into shoutouts. We have a pretty decent shoutout section for this episode. So, that being said, let's get into this. We're going to start this shout-out section with the Getter shout-outs. If you are on Getter, I am at Generally Nerdy on Getter. We only have one new follow there, and it is Rattlehead83. Thank you very much, Nerd, for the follow. Not 100% sure you are actually nerdy type, but if you just want your pop culture nerd news, that's all that matters. So thank you once again, Nerd, for the follow. Now let's talk about YouTube shout-outs. We have one new subscriber, at least one new subscriber that has their settings set to public, and that new subscriber is a Silent White Fire. White spelled much like the whites from the Game of Thrones series. So thank you very much, Nerd, for the subscription. And then we also have a couple of shout-outs for commenters. Wayne Thayer, you commented on the Non-Point video. While we do disagree on the quality of that song, thank you very much for the engagement. Jesse Fulton interview with a vampire video over on the Clips channel. I totally agree with you. That is some crazy casting, hence the video. Thank you very much for the engagement. And Donna Stevenson, I know you're excited about Jack White. So am I. Have you listened to the new song yet? We'll talk about that probably in the new season. All of that being said, thank you very much, nerds, for the follows and the engagements. And then, as per usual, our largest section for shoutouts is TikTok. So we're just going to jump right into it. Again, avoiding ones that I think are bots or ones that I think are just randomly generated numbers. Unfortunately, those are too long to do in a shout out section. That being said, we have Evelyn, randomly generated number. We have Adam Yonko 12, GTA 5 Content 09, Connor Love Chanel 28. Oh, isn't that so cute? Melon Man _ RR, Clark the Shark 69420. I see what you did there. M4X underscore. This is not a randomly generated number. I'm sure this has something to do with something personal to this person. I'm not going to even try and do it though. Nick MT7, Gladiator underscore Bricks, Zav underscore 4350, randomly generated number, Kizzy the Kill 0, and SergioBlackstar.com. All new followers on the TikTok. Thank you very much, nerds, for the follow. If you want your TikTok shout out, then all you have to do is follow at Generally Nerdy. And then rounding out the shout outs section is Instagram. We have 2 new follows on the Instagram. We have Adam Mix 916 and Static underscore 2000. Thank you very much, nerds, for the follow. If you want your Instagram shout out, then all you have to do is follow me at Generally Nerdy. If you follow on Twitter, it is at Generally underscore Nerdy, and Facebook at Generally Nerdy, Generally Nerdy Photo, or Generally Nerdy Gaming, all of which will grant you a shout out. So all of these shout outs out of the way, nerds, thank you once again for being so wonderful and following and doing all of the engagements. But now we have a bit of a hybrid episode to get into. We have not as much this time in the rumor mill, but we do have some news to supplement it, which is kind of backwards to the normal season, but we are in off season. So starting things off, we are in the music section. We have a bit of a down point, depending on your take on this band. And then we have a pretty awesome point. So let's start with the bad news first. Bad news is if you are an Everytime I Die fan, then you already know that they broke up. If you're kind of more of a passive fan, then you probably don't know, but Everytime I Die just announced literally, I think it was 2 days before I filmed today, that they are no longer going to be a band. There is some back and forth going on between the brothers that lead that band. So the vocalist, I can't remember their names because I take amazing notes, vocalist and his brother, the guitar player for the band. Again, names completely escaping me because I over rely on my memory. They have been kind of infighting for a little while, since before Christmas. They did a holiday show. It went off fairly well, actually rather well from what I've heard. All reports say that was one of the best live performances many people who have seen them multiple times have seen. So it sounded like they were doing well aside from the infighting that everybody knew was happening. And then the infighting came to a peak. Some paranoia vocalist guy was going to take time off for his mental health and sober up. And so he got paranoid, thought they were going to replace him. They said, no, we're not going to replace him, but it kind of was too little too late apparently at that point, so they have broken up. However, that is not the last we're going to hear of these musicians. Don't know what exactly is going on with the vocalist, but apparently the rest of the band already have plans in place to do something else together. It is not going to be Everytime I Die, though I would not be surprised to find out that they are doing Everytime I Die songs live, but it does sound like they are going to be doing some sort of collaboration together down the road, continuing with the chemistry that they have accrued over the last 20-something years of being a band. So that is our bad piece. Our good piece for this section for this episode is Weird Al. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if it's come up very much because Weird Al has not been very present in the conversation too much in the last few years, but I love Weird Al. Weird Al is amazing on so many levels, not the least of which his sense of humor is second to none. But Weird Al is getting a biopic, and that is not the biggest part of this announcement. The biopic is going to star as Weird Al, Harry freaking Potter. Daniel Radcliffe is going to be playing Weird Al in a biopic. It is going to be produced by the folks over at Funny or Die as well as Tango. Both companies Weird Al is very heavily entrenched with. I believe he is actually a producer with Funny or Die and has done work for Tango in the past as well. So yeah, kind of awesome. I'm super excited about this. When I heard the announcement, I kind of thought to myself, why did this not already happen? Either way, it's happening now. So yeah, be excited, and we're going to move on. Our next section, we're not going in the regular order of things because we don't have stuff in every section, but next we're talking gaming and tech, and we have a giant gaming and tech announcement. I mean, huge. Microsoft is planning to buy, is not asking to buy. They are in the process currently of buying Activision Blizzard. What is going on? So it sounds like Microsoft, when they made those announcements previously that we talked about in the gaming section months ago, shortly after they bought Bethesda, there was a whole lot of talk of who is Microsoft going to be buying next? Because they have made it very well known that they want to become a powerhouse, even more so in the gaming world. More on the software side of things, because they are now considered one of the top 2 on the hardware side of things. Well, depending. I would argue probably more appropriately, even though I am a Microsoft guy when it comes to gaming, Sony's number 2 and Nintendo's number 1, but I don't know, we could get into that conversation. Either way, Microsoft is right up there with the big boys, and yeah, they're going to put themselves in that number 2 spot. This is probably going to be the deal that does it too. So properties like World of Warcraft, Overwatch, so many things are now going to be under the umbrella of Microsoft, and they've already started announcing the games that are going to be on the Xbox Game Pass once the deal is done. And it goes even deeper. So, Xbox gaming lead, I should say, Phil Spencer, has kind of sort of alluded to, not really, more in leaked emails from inter-email company correspondence things, that he is going to potentially be ousting Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick. Very likely this is all because Microsoft saw the opportunity to move in with all of the controversy going around with Activision Blizzard, and being as Bobby Kotick is the one kind of taking the brunt of all of those accusations. It sounds like good old Phil Spencer is not happy with that. And so once the deal is done, sounds like he's going to be doing the dirty and getting him out of that office, which could honestly be a fantastic thing, or it could be a horrible thing. Only time will tell. We are going to be moving right along from there. Next, we're talking in TV streaming, and this is our last news section before we get to the rumors. So stick around, won't you, for the rumors. But TV streaming, we do have one follow-up that I thought was relevant enough to talk about in the off-season, and that is Quantum Leap. We talked previously about how Scott Bakula was saying that there is talks of doing a reboot for the series. Well, that reboot has now been officially greenlit. Strangely enough, though, Scott Bakula has not been officially confirmed as returning to his role in the series, or in a role for the series. So that's pretty interesting. Next, we do have the launch of the Moon Knight trailer. Holy cow! If you haven't watched this yet, you really, really should. I feel like Disney is kind of sort of course correcting. It is a giant ship that they are trying to course correct. So it is going to be a very slow process. But from the looks of things, this Moon Knight series is going to be a big boon toward that effort. Also, kind of a commentary real quick. The fandom is kind of up in arms about the fact that we have not yet seen Jack Lockley in the Moon Knight series, because it's a teaser that lasts, I think, just shy of 2 minutes. And so we only get 2 of the 3 regular personalities for the character, and they leave out Jack. It's a teaser. I feel like normies have a hard enough time following comic book stuff as it is. So if they were to throw this character in whole hog into the first teaser, people would be so confused by what was going on. They very likely wouldn't want, at least that's, I think, what marketing is saying, is if we put all of this stuff in here the first time, nobody's going to watch it. It's going to be too confusing. They're not going to waste their time. So I feel like they're playing a little bit of a slow game with this. We will find out, though, when the season launches. I forgot to put it in the notes. I do apologize. I'll put it, if you're watching the episode and not just listening, I will add it here on the screen. Otherwise, we'll talk about it in the next episode. That being said, we have one last piece for TV streaming, and Santa Claus. This was just kind of so random, it had to go in. Tim Allen is returning to the role of Scott Calvin, or Sinterklaas, or Santa Claus, or whichever name you prefer to give. He is going to be doing a Disney Plus series for the Santa Claus, Claus with an E. I don't know where this is going, but it's really interesting because this sees Tim Allen reuniting with the Last Man Standing director, showrunner Jack Burditt. So Last Man Standing being the last series that Tim Allen worked on, did fairly well. So yeah, this time maybe they will continue some of that magic and some of the magic from at least the first Santa Claus movie. I can take it or leave it with the second movie, and the third one is kind of not worth it really much at all. So all of that is all of our news. Let's talk about the rumors. That's right. That is why you're all here anyway, is because we have rumors to discuss. So let's discuss them. Our first subsection of the rumors actually has to do with confirmations and refutations. The first one is a refutation that actually isn't a refutation of something we've talked about on the show previously, partially because, off season, so the research isn't as solid as it normally is for me, but also because by the time I got wind of it, it was already refuted. So the refutation is for the Knights of Ren. Knights of Ren, there was a really bad, quote unquote, leaked trailer. Again, fan trailers are not real, people. Check the description, check the channel on YouTube, wherever you're watching this. If it says fan made, even once, do not count it as real, because apparently this fooled a whole swath of people into thinking that there was actually a Knights of Ren movie that was going to happen. There were some pretty jarring inconsistencies with what we do know of the Knights of Ren. We do know that they are not actually Jedi. So when you saw multiple of them using lightsabers and such, that should have been a pretty big tip, but whatever. Maybe they changed it. I can understand the argument, but yeah, not real. It is not happening. It has been shot down by multiple sources. So at this point, if you believe that there is a Knights of Ren movie coming, then you aren't paying attention. Next, we have a confirmation of a rumor, and this one goes in line with something I honestly, if we had been doing regular episodes 2 weeks ago, we would have talked about this already, and that is Beavis and Butthead. But this one is King of the Hill. So both Mike Judge properties, both are getting revival series. This is a proper revival for Beavis and Butthead as well as for King of the Hill. This is going to be exactly what we wanted, what we discussed previously months ago about the potential King of the Hill revival. It's going to be set further into the future. Bobby's older. They can write Luann out, so on and so forth. So pretty freaking awesome. Mike Judge is about to be rolling in the dough again because, Office Space and the first run of Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill didn't make him rich enough. He's got to keep going, but whatever. I love it. So keep it coming. That being said, let's get into the actual rumors here, guys. First up, we have an Ironheart rumor. Remember, Ironheart is coming to Disney Plus. It is going to be a series. So we now have rumors about who the villain is going to be for season 1. So the first rumor I heard was that it was going to be the Hood. And there wasn't really any sort of justification for this aside from a pretty vague casting announcement. So that pretty vague casting announcement then led me to find the other source that said it might be Iron Monger 2, not Obadiah, but Obadiah's son. I'm sorry, this one I did add to the notes. Zeke Stane is the second Iron Monger, and that is the second rumor for this series. I don't believe that we are going to be seeing the Hood. I feel like that's a little too close to Red Hood, and I feel like that's a little too close to what they're trying to do with Batman. I don't think that is going to happen, especially because the source is pretty weak and there was no real justification aside from the same casting announcement that brought us Zeke. So Zeke, the reason I believe it is going to be Zeke, if this rumor is to be believed, is because Disney is wont to do callbacks, and we have already seen Iron Monger in the second Iron Man movie. Was it the first Iron Man movie? I can't remember. He was played by the dude, Jeff Bridges, as you well know. So that seems to make a lot more sense. That lines up a lot with what's going on. We have this new generation of folk. We have Zeke Stane being a presumably cisgendered, straight, hetero, white man. So, of course, he's going to be the villain because that's the way of Disney and Hollywood right now. So that kind of falls in line. We also have again the callbacks to Obadiah, and we can tie things in. And they're doing all of this multiverse stuff, and they're doing all of these callbacks. So yeah, 100%. No, 100. Not that's not the percentage we're going with. I'm sorry. If this is true, that is the way I'm going. So let's go into likelihoods for this one. Likelihood for the Hood. I didn't even write down the character's non-supervillain name. Is how much I don't believe this is going to happen. I'm giving this about 25% likelihood that is going to be the Hood. I'm going with 70% likelihood that we will be seeing Zeke Stane as or Stane, I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to be something else, but it looks like Stane. He is going to be the villain in the Ironheart series. 70% once again. Our next rumor isn't really a rumor, but it wasn't 100% confirmed by the time I was done with the research. So we're putting it here because it's significant. E3 is rumored to not be happening at all this year, not even digitally. So there was a plan. They did make an announcement a few months back saying that we are likely going to go digital if we do it at all this year. That being said, that left open the door to potentially not do it at all. I think this is pretty freaking likely because it's just digital. If they do it, it's just going to be digital. And there's no point in that because all of these game publishers and all of these studios and everything all have the capability of doing this on their own to begin with. And actually last year we saw a lot of the larger companies not participate in the digital E3. They did their own presentations right about that same time. So that's probably going to happen. And the E3 folks are just going to wait until it's okay to do it in person. So likelihood that we will not be seeing any form of actual E3, 90%. Our next rumor, we had to talk about it because everybody's talking about it, and that is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's what everybody's talking about, not specifically this rumor, though kind of. The rumor says that we are going to be seeing John Krasinski play Reed Richards. Now, that's not exactly new. The new part is that this is just going to be an alternate reality version of Reed Richards that is likely only going to show up in this movie and maybe another movie down the road, but that would be the extent of it. So theoretically, a Secret Wars movie or something to that effect. This sounds pretty likely. So what we've learned from the little bits that have gotten out about what Krasinski has talked to Disney about say that one of the hangups that he has is that he doesn't want to sign a giant contract. He doesn't want to have to do 6 movies as this one character. He wants to get in, do the thing, and get out, which I'm sure most fans are relatively okay with, assuming that we get a decent casting choice for the mainline Reed Richards in the future. So all of that being said, the likelihood that we're going with here, that we're only going to be seeing John Krasinski as Reed Richards for a movie or two, probably about 75%. I would be very, very surprised if we see him beyond a second cameo. Even then, it'll just be a cameo and nothing crazy extensive. And then let's talk real quick about these Black Panther rumors. We have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever rumors. We have got them left and right and center and all over the place. So our first rumor is, and actually, we're not going to talk about all of the Black Panther rumors because there's honestly quite a few. We're just going with the new sources because all of the rumors we've already talked about. Even these 2 rumors that we're talking about, we've talked about both of them previously. We just have another source saying the same thing, which kind of gives it a little bit more likelihood. So that being said, we're talking about Namor and Doctor Doom. This time, these are from some pretty high-ranking sources who have a pretty high track record of being correct. So we're going to break it in half because it comes from different sources in different ways. The first half is we're going to be seeing Namor as the kind of villain anti-hero situation, the main antithesis to the Wakanda folk is going to be Namor in this movie. That seems pretty likely to me, though I still feel like if Namor is in this movie, he's not going to be the main villain, he's going to be a secondary villain. And actually, one of the sources kind of laid it out like that as well, because this is going to be a setup for a Namor movie, much like Civil War was a setup for a Black Panther movie. So I think that is pretty well in line. I think we'll see something akin to what we got Black Manta in Aquaman. He'll be a secondary villain-like character, but he won't be the main antagonist. So yeah, we're getting about 65% likely that Namor is the guy. And then the Doctor Doom rumor, we're going to get into a little bit of the detail before we get into that percentage. So the Doctor Doom rumor is that Doctor Doom is going to have a cameo in the movie, so that lends towards the rumor pretty well, and that he is going to be the reason why the Atlanteans and the Wakandans are feuding, because that is apparently going to be at least a subplot for this movie, is that there is a feud between Atlantis and Wakanda. Okay, so the reason we're going as low as we're going is because I think there is a bit of a word issue here. The rumor says it is going to be a cameo, a fairly minor, but still a couple minutes worth of screen time style cameo, and we're going to see Doctor Doom. I don't believe we are going to see Doctor Doom except for maybe a brief glimpse in a post-credit stinger. I believe that there is going to be reference to Doctor Doom, and then we're going to see Doctor Doom in a future movie, because if you're setting him up to be the next big bad, which they really, really should, because it's Dr. freaking Doom, if you're setting him up to be the next Thanos, let's say, then you don't show him right away. You take a few movies and kind of let the menace build. And this is something that Disney does and does fairly well, so I don't think we're going to see Doctor Doom. I feel like there is going to be a few references to Doctor Doom, and I do feel like the part of blaming the Atlantean Wakandan war on Doctor Doom is going to be absolutely accurate. But the rumor doesn't say that. The rumor says we're going to get a cameo from Doctor Doom, and that is why we're going 50% likelihood for this rumor. That is the news and all of the rumors that we got for you today. If you are falling behind, or if you just need to catch up, then you can go check out the previous episodes over on youtube.com/generallynerdy, or wherever you happen to be watching or listening to this. Likely there is a back catalog. Either way, thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.